Another fantastic guest cast, another poker face show. In The Big Pump, Jason Ritter portrays a client named Rodney who wants to make some significant progress before facing his former nemesis at his high school reunion, while Method Man plays a muscular gym owner named Brick. In order to help him get in shape more quickly, he asks Brick for the same performance-enhancing drug that he provides to other clients. Brick then asks his girlfriend Lil to obtain more of the good stuff. The wonderful stuff, it turns out, isn't steroids but rather the breast milk Lil gets from the birth center where she works. Ironically, Rodney turns out to be a city health inspector. He is prepared to overlook steroid usage, but not the resale and theft of human breast milk, which he calls a catastrophe of the health code. After hours, Rodney meets Brick at the gym, and when the kettlebells begin to be hurled around the room, the altercation between them turns lethal. When the morning exercises arrive and discover Rodney's body, Brick plays dumb and fabricates his death as a lifting accident. Brick's girlfriend, played by Natasha Leggero, steals breast milk from her workplace. Like Carol Kane in Poker Face's baseball episode a few weeks back, Leggero is incredibly underutilized despite having a strong little presence. Leggero is a scathing comedian who frequently appears in. Even though she and Natasha Lyonne seldom ever interact on film, it seems like they should be exchanging humorous jabs on Comedy Central roasts. In The Big Pump, which follows last week's Poker Face, Charlie is finally settled in one location. She continues to live in Good Buddy's filthy New York apartment, and it becomes somewhat more plausible that she would run into a murder victim everywhere she goes. She visits Brick's gym for a free spinal adjustment and receives a complimentary week of gym membership. She befriends Alex, played by Patty Harrison, who is also lonely and seeking a more dependable social circle. Charlie and Alex meet Rodney at the gym, and he gives them some lifting tips. The first signs that Rodney's death circumstances are questionable are Charlie and Alex's two golden principles of weightlifting. In order to prevent him from dying while performing a bench press without a spotter the day after he had already worked out his chest muscles, he advised them to always have a spotter and to alternate which muscle groups they worked out. However, for the first time ever, Charlie isn't really keen to look into it even after receiving her initial hints. She prefers to stay out of the way and not get involved, but Alex is eager to. She needs Charlie's talent as a human lie detector to conduct the investigation, so Charlie grudgingly teaches Alex the craft of amateur sleuthing. She imparts all of the knowledge she has gained. Amateur sleuthing. She imparts all of the knowledge she has gained from her years of unofficial crime solving, including the lessons she has learned from her mistakes. I love the old-school episodic nature of this show, but it's also fun to see some continuity as Charlie goes over the events of past episodes. During the episode's climax, Brick locks Charlie in the sauna. She was already on the verge of being cremated in Poker Face's 3-episode season premiere, so it makes sense that Charlie would almost kill herself in her never-ending pursuit of bringing murderers to justice, but the show needs to use that kind of life-threatening danger sparingly to have the right impact. A gym was a great setting for a murder mystery because everyone there is large and formidable, there are dozens of potential murder weapons lined up on racks around the building, and there is a room that is meant to seal shut and become uncomfortable. By the end of the episode, Charlie and Alex are still hanging out, and I hope she stays for a long time. Giving the lone detective a partner creates an intriguing new dynamic, and Harrison makes a fantastic, straight man, counterpoint for Leon. Alex's arrival expands on Charlie's season-long attempts to make friends and escape her solitary existence as a wolf pack. Poker Face may be a very different program going forward. Alex unintentionally sets up this week's scenario by recommending to Charlie that she join the Brick House, a nearby gym, in order to strengthen her back and neck after lying on Good Buddy's bed. The two women meet Brick, the owner of the Brick House, played by Cliff Smith, also known as the rapper Method Man, a budding fitness entrepreneur who gives them smartwatches that talk to them in his voice and motivate them to reach their objectives and maintain relationships with other gym patrons. Among those members is Rodney, played by Jason Ritter, a gregarious man who dies on a. She's residing in Good Buddy's apartment and is interacting with a number of the same characters that we met in the previous week's episode, such as Alex, Patty Harrison, the coffee shop Samaritan she met briefly in A New Lease on Death. Their interaction was so brief that I didn't mention it at all in my recap. Alex unintentionally sets up this week's scenario by recommending to Charlie that she join the Brick House, a nearby gym, in order to strengthen her back and neck after lying on Good Buddy's bed. The two women meet Brick, the owner of the Brick House, played by Cliff Smith, also known as the rapper Method Man, a budding fitness entrepreneur who gives them smartwatches that talk to them in his voice and motivate them to reach their objectives and maintain relationships with other gym patrons. Among those members is Rodney, played by Jason Ritter, a gregarious man who dies on a weightlifting bench late one night, with his fractured neck seemingly crushed by a barbell. Alex and Charlie have gotten to know Rodney a little, so they find it hard to believe that he would be lifting at night at all. He had a very strict routine, or that he wouldn't have utilized a spotter because he was naturally, since we witnessed the murder inside the first 10 minutes, prior to the circle returning, we already know that Brick is to blame for Rodney's passing. The extremely noir-sounding title of this episode, The Big Pump, alludes to weightlifting as well as Brick's very illicit side gig of selling bodybuilders human breast milk under the guise of the good stuff. Brick, who has a negative tendency to. Each of his reviews includes a pertinent Columbo episode. The Season 4 classic, An Exercise in Fatality, in which Robert Conrad plays a fitness expert who kills one of his gym's franchisees and then hides it by setting up a well-known barbell/neck-breaking scenario, is the one I'm fairly certain he'll choose this week. Conrad's character is so arrogant about his intelligence that he fabricates an excessively complex alibi with several aspects that don't make sense when looked at closely. One mistake at a time, it's entertaining to watch Columbo wear him down. This poker face is also entertaining, even though Brick is more of a typical bumbler with large